and welcome to Scarlet Serpent readings. Thank you so much for joining me for today's pick a card reading. The topic is going to be what are your hidden abilities, and I wanted to give a shout out to Talisman Tarot because I had seen her reading a while ago, and so this is definitely inspired by that, and I'm probably gonna have a link to her channel and to that original reading as well, just so you guys can check it out because she's wonderful. So yeah, we're just gonna dive right in. I have 3 piles for you to choose from. These are old doodles, by the way. So pile 1, I have pile 2, and then pile 3. What are your hidden talents? Did I say abilities? I meant talents, though. I guess those terms are interchangeable, but and if you need some more time, of course, you could pause the video. I have an image up on the screen now that you could take a look at if you need to have more time again to intuitively choose your pile. But otherwise, I'll see you at your reading. Hi, pile 1. If you chose this image, this is your reading on what are your hidden talents. So we're just gonna dive head first. I'm doing shorter readings just for, I guess, the last reading in this one, because the next one's gonna be almost like an overload of information. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm just gonna choose 3 cards. I'll do 4. Wow. So what's interesting is I chose 4 cards and 2 of them came face up. And so I think that's telling me that you might be more aware of these 2 abilities if they're separate. But they're beautiful cards, both of them. The first one is the Star. So it speaks of balancing, and because it comes after the Tower, it's almost like you're used to transformation, and that there's this deep knowing that as you transform, you become almost a lighter version of yourself, like a lighter being, closer to the stars, really. And I think part of your talent has to do potentially with channeling, but also manifesting your reality. These are like master manifestors. And then the second ability that I'm interchanging ability and talent, sorry, but is the Wheel of Fortune. I think luck is generally on your side. You do have like a very close guardian angel. I'm seeing kind of like part of your talent has to do with your connection to your angels and star beings, both. And so if you find yourself being very lucky, it's interesting because we say luck, but I do kind of think that luck is an energy that, not that you could manipulate it, but you could kind of dip into luck more often if you have the right relationships, if that makes sense. It's almost like creating a luck for yourself. But let's look at the other 2 cards and see a little bit more. These are a bit more hidden. We have the 9 of Wands. I think part of, if this is considered a talent, is attracting people into your life, attracting situations into your life, and just there's a magnetic energy. And I just saw 222. I forgot what that was about. The 2s. Oh, it's for a TikTok video. Never mind. Sorry, but yeah, and I think if you find that your luck isn't that good, that you're at the bottom here, this is because you're attracting a polarizing energy to the one that you are most comfortable in. It's like you might attract a person who's bringing bad luck. And so if you find yourself in a funk or something, it's because, the Wheel of Fortune does turn. But how fast or slow that wheel turns is partly dependent on your energy, and the more friction there is, the slower the wheel turns, at least in this example. And so that'll just be something to keep in mind. If it could be a time for energy clearing, room cleaning, a deep cleaning, kind of like meditation bath, or going to a pool, some sort of ritual to cleanse your energy and your mind, and especially consider who's around you and how their energy is affecting your ability to attract good luck. Let's look at this last card, the Knight of Cups. I think most of this has to do with an ease of moving and of expressing yourself. I kind of feel like this would be a pile that's very good with writing, with words, with describing their journey. I think part of that is it's like you're meant to move through the world with a certain speed and energy, and that's so that you could share as much of your transformations as possible. Because a lot of people are afraid of changing who they are in a deep level. Like, yeah, it's almost like this person is literally see-through. You know, that's how connected to the stars you are. And there's this you have like a celestial presence about you. So we're just gonna grab some more cards. Let's see, the universe. Wow. This ties back to what I was saying with, I'm just not gonna bother. A tie to something beyond this world, really. And I think if there is a struggle with being in this physical planet and this existence, I think part of that is because you're so much more comfortable in the sky in a very real sense. I don't it's like more so than most, you're not of this planet. And look, we have movement too, which describes not only the energy but also a confirmation that you move with grace through the world. So it should be easier. And just the bottom of the deck, we have outlaw as well. So I don't think you're meant to depend on societal norms as like a measure of what it means to be successful. Like you can't rely on trends or anything like that, because they just don't mean anything to you. And if you follow them, then you'll be behind in a way. You're meant to lead the way and not follow. There we go. You're meant to forge the path, not be behind it, because by the time you're following a trend, it's just you're not in your power by following trends. You're meant to lead. You're meant to be that light, the guiding light for others. To forge a reality that is very different from the one that we have right now, and that takes confidence, the trailblazer, and also the North Star, the guiding light. And so your talent is, in a lot of ways, just being a trailblazer, being a pioneer, and not to be afraid that even though you might not have people physically around you helping you, you know, like a team, it would be helpful. It's almost easier to have confidence in that. Is it not verification, but validation from others? Like, am I doing the right thing? Yeah, you're not going to get that from people, not on this planet. So you're really being called upon to rely on your intuition more than most, to rely on your star guidance and your star ancestors and the angelic realm for their support and their validation. Is like, yeah, just keep going. It's fine. I know no one's there yet, but eventually there's going to be like a civilization in this empty, you know, meadow or whatever. Then we have learn. This is kind of showing me that you learn very quickly, but also that you're learning from your ancestors. That, and this kind of ties back to your intuition, your ability to kind of pull things out of nowhere. It's pretty remarkable, and I think that ties back again to, in some form, I don't know, I'm seeing something with words, either writing or speaking words in a unique way, describing your journey, and describing the journey of like your ancestors and your star guardians, like as a channel. So you might be someone who's interested in channeling, or more specifically trance mediumship, or something along those lines, being into a trance state and allowing messages to come through. And that doesn't necessarily need to be needing to sit down and be in a trance state. A trance could be channeled writing, channeled drawing, where you just go almost on autopilot, kind of like what I did with these images here. but you're connected. It's almost a reminder that just because the people around you physically aren't supporting you, it doesn't mean you don't have support. And I think part of the reason for that is that you're strong enough to know, you're strong enough to forge your own path, even when everyone else is kind of bumping into walls and doing what they've always done. Your talent is in breaking barriers and wielding a sword that cuts through the vines of kind of mediocrity, you know. So you're being asked to push, to describe, and to recognize when luck isn't on your side as a sign to do some sort of clearing or cord cutting or just letting people go out of your life. Because in solitude, I think you do move faster. I'm noticing that about these cards, is that most of these three, I don't think I've been showing the cards that much, so I apologize, but these three, all these figures are alone. And that doesn't mean you always have to be alone, but it's more like a pretty significant part of your journey is solitude. And this is just, I guess this reading would serve as a reminder that you're not actually alone in spirit, but it's also your superpower. So I'm going to end the reading there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please let me know, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 2. If you chose this image, this is going to be your reading. What are your hidden talents? Let's dive right in. Alright, so I'm going to take... Uh-oh. I'm keeping that. You're going to have to deal with it. I'm sorry. I'm going to pull 4 cards for you. We are already seeing a connection between this pile and pile 1. Okay. So what's interesting so far is that we have 3 cards that are facing up and then 1 that's facing down. So I think you're a bit more aware of the talents that you have, but we're going to dive into it anyway. The first one that came up was the Wheel of Fortune. So like with the previous pile, there is a sense of movement and luck and guidance from the angelic realm, so you could be very close, very, very close to the angels. What's interesting is that now I notice more people. In the last reading, I didn't really notice these people. I know they're there, but I just didn't see them. So it's almost as if, kind of the opposite in a way, where you tend to bring good luck to others as well. And that might be something that gravitates people towards you. So it's similar but different, because with the Hierophant card right next to it, we also see these 2 people coming to the Hierophant for their wisdom, for a connection to your intuition, to the universe in itself. And what's interesting is your balance between masculine, feminine, shadow, higher self is you receive information from both of them. I think that's what makes your wisdom so solid, as opposed to someone who is exclusively not working with the light, or I don't want to suggest anything like that, but where it's not one-sided. I think you can connect to shadow people who are within their shadow, almost unconscious, very easily. I think that is a talent. That's something worth mentioning. I think you have the potential to be like a therapist or a counselor or a teacher, someone who provides wisdom. You're very easy to listen to. People take your guidance. What's interesting is that I have the Queen of Wands in reverse, which I usually don't do reversals. And in this case, I just feel like you don't get to be as alone as you want to be. You don't get to be as free. You almost feel bound to people in a way. And that could seem stifling, you know? It's almost like these angelic wings. The angel can't fly because she's carrying this wheel filled with people, and so you might feel like a heaviness to you. But that can also be seen, like if you shift your mindset, instead of feeling dragged down by people, it's almost like they help you ground into this reality, because otherwise you drift off, and by drifting off, you can't really create a reality in this planet. You can't ground yourself, and it's almost like these people connect you to the earth in a way. And I don't know, I just feel like this talent is about helping other people feel seen, and these are people who need you in their life. That doesn't mean that you necessarily need to neglect who you are or neglect your alone time, but you do feel that you wish you had more alone time. I think that's a very strong feeling. The card that was underneath, though, is the Strength card, though. And so I think this is, in a way, validating that that you can work with shadow very well. This would be like my shadow workers pile. And then we even see the black cat here in reverse. It's like you could handle that energy quite well. And yeah, I'm not gonna, like, there might be darker spirits or heavier spirits. And I don't think that's anything to be afraid of. It's almost like a reflection of that physical world with people, where there's just people who are in a dark place, but it's temporary and they could use your light. And it's almost like just a recognition. Like, there's a lot of respect from shadows and unconsciousness, that they respect your light and they come to you for that wisdom, because they want to transform. They want to be this pope figure wearing the crown, and they see you as a road to light. And it's interesting just how much red we see in these cards. In almost all of them, it's the figure that is red. It's your groundedness to the earth. And you might, with your connection to the angels, I think you might work well with kind of angels like Azrael or Sandalphon, more angels of the earth, angels or shamanic. This is kind of like a shamanic pile, very much lower world energy, where that's where you draw a lot of power and a lot of that's where the respect, I think, comes from. That this people come to you and they are humbled by your presence, and I think that is a talent to get people who normally don't listen to anybody to listen to you and to respect, again, your wisdom and knowledge that you have. I also kind of see like animal communication with this pile more so than anything, so that might be something that you've considered, even like animal reiki or something like that, working with your hands with different animals. And so if you've been considering going to vet school, maybe this is confirmation of that, but otherwise it's more of like almost a telepathic communication. And those are like the as above so below. It's like animals come to you, people come to you, spirits come to you. You're similar in a way, like, but they come to you because they know that they could feel safe in your presence and that you have something to offer them. It's like she's feeding part of that earthly wisdom to the lion and grabbing it by its tail, very gentle but in control of these energies. So like, if you find yourself in those situations, I don't think you need to be afraid of anything, because you're so protected that there's no need to fear anything. Look at this, death, connected to the shadow realm. Very, very interesting energy, very dark energy, and it's part of the balance of the universe, and then we have underneath boundaries. I think more so than anything, this is just a sign that you are protected always, constantly. And I've mentioned this, I think, on a couple other readings. If you've had those piles where, like, you don't really need a bubble. You don't need to do the light shielding constantly. Maybe like a clearing, and maybe working with black tourmaline. I think black stones are perfect for you, like absolutely perfect. Working with Shiva, Kali, more of those underworld entities, like Hades or something like that. I think you're naturally drawn to them, and they're drawn to you. And it's, again, this light shadow, the attraction that you get, but that's where you draw a lot of your power. And again, I keep reminding you, like, I'm sure if you chose this pile, you're not afraid, but not to be afraid of these shadow figures, unless, of course, discernment and they're trying to, there's like this trickster vibe, but otherwise, like, I'm even seeing mystic merlinite. Stones like that, dark stones, really work for you. So let's grab one more card. I have a feeling this card is going to represent how you could enhance this talent. Influence. This is a sea creature. This is like a mermaid. So that could be like a connection to mer people or the water. But I think more so it's your ability to influence people. I feel like you're this mer person. And that influence is very strong. And it's like you're pushing people to become the best version of themselves, to let go of what they think they should be. So it's almost like you teach people to embrace their shadow. And I think part of your talent has to do with your shadow. It's like your shadow comes through you, and that's where most of your abilities come from. I also seeing like scrying or mirror work. Mirror work. I don't like that word, mirror. It bothers me. I just had to say it. Last thing, I noticed that this queen has an eye in her heart. I didn't really notice that. So, and that just shows me that like you see with your heart, you know, regardless of the exterior, regardless shadow, light, up, down, whatever the circumstance, conscious, unconscious, you see through the heart, and you see the connectedness to the universe as a whole. You could see yourself in other people, and I think that's kind of what makes you potentially like a good therapist again, someone who naturally has an audience. I just feel like you're always going to have an audience, and that's because you're an influencer. Very strong influencer, and the more you lean into that, the more abundance you'll find, the more satisfaction you'll find in living in this planet, and feeling like you're a part of something, part of the earth, which I think is part of your journey. So I'm going to end the reading there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose this image, this is going to be your reading. What are your hidden talents? So I'm going to pull 4 tarot cards and then a couple of oracles. Should be about 10-minute reading. That's how it's been. I think the first thing I want to say, part of your talent, oh wow, do you find yourself being like a relationship therapist for other people? I also kind of see this, the Lovers, the Six of Cups, the either twin flame relationship, or maybe you've learned and grown through different relationships with other people. It's almost like as you reflect on how these formed, how you've transformed, you could really see, it's like a vantage point for how much you've developed on a personal level. And I don't know, this pile, like, part of the talent is, I don't know, like you give yourself fully to people. And King of Cups, I pulled a lot more cards and then Eight of Swords at the bottom. Like, I almost want to say lesson, like part of your talent is that lesson of loving someone but not clinging on, not feeling attached to them. It's like you can love fully without, what's the name of the song by 31 Special? Hold On Loosely. Hold on loosely. I'll put a link to it, but don't let go. If you cling too tightly, you're gonna lose control. And I'm kind of seeing that with this Page of Wands. So I don't know if you've done this, if you've considered doing like a journal just of all of your relationships, romantic or otherwise, but I don't know. There's it's kind of funny how the readings go from one extreme to the complete other. So I'll show you these cards. Sorry, this is. I also feel like you have a way of changing your past, if that makes sense. You go down to memory lane and then you shift. Yeah, as you become wiser, your perception of what has happened changes, and that changes the past. It's like a time weaver, like a time master or something like that, where you can, in a very real sense, change what has happened and how things unfold in your future based on that change. You're also very good at recognizing patterns, pattern recognition, more so than most people. And so you could recognize warning signs from very far away. This is a very psychic group. And I think the difficulty is with relationships, you tend to ignore your psychic gifts. And I think that's something you've learned over time, is that there was warning signs, they were on the wall, but your heart kind of ignored them. And so there's been this journey of like being afraid of listening to your heart and falling in love, and then it's like you're so completely in love and, you know, almost blinded by it that you completely ignore the mind, and then you come together and kind of bring those things in union, and really the best union that you have. I've mentioned it, I think, in the very last reading that I had, where the best union you can have is with yourself, that relationship of self, and then the appropriate partner will come through. But with your wisdom, it's like you can easily, you have a good lie detector. You can tell when someone's being unfaithful or there's just other intentions involved with people, and you've learned to be discerning in who you allow into your life and who you let go of, really. This light is not helping me. There we go. There we go. And see that, cutting the vines, moving away. This is almost like a figure of shielding your inner child, protecting it from harm. But I think heartbreak is part of the journey. It helps your heart become stronger, and it helps you be less afraid, really, in a way. Like, I've gotten my heart broken so many times that I know when the signs are coming, and I'm not afraid to love fully, but not give all of my love to someone else and not love myself. It's kind of like projecting that love onto someone else, and expecting that of the partner, of your partner, previous partner. So I don't know, I feel like you can describe this very well through music or art, in an abstract way of your experience with this sort of journey. Let's get an oracle card. Wow, I'm gonna grab that real quick. So we have versatility. I'm gonna grab one more, but got the Alchemist. And I think in that sense, it's like alchemizing your past, alchemizing the hurt into something useful, and alchemizing others as well. Because if these people have treated you poorly, they get their karma back sevenfold, and that's part of their journey too. Loving in a way that is actually respectful, as opposed to using love as a binding word. When people say, "Oh, I do this because I love you," I'm like, those are just words. I'm not buying into that at all. It's not really a phrase that means much of anything useful, at least depending on the context, of course. But because we worry about you, or because we care about you, justifying actions that really don't show that love at all. Love is in part allowing things to be, allowing people to fall. If you go your whole life protecting from the elements of the earth, they end up being almost crippled in a way. Like, they don't know how to navigate the world if they're too busy being sheltered. And maybe this is depending, if you have children or you were the child who was overprotected, there could be something about that journey as well, where the more you try and keep a child from doing bad things or anything, I mean, there's like a general guidance that a parent has a responsibility to do, but at the same time, if you're, again, being overprotective, turns out it's very likely that child's going to go out of their way to get themselves into trouble just to feel what it's like, just to if you go hiking and you have someone carry you for the whole time, like, you'll never experience the thrill of just connecting your body to the earth, if that makes sense. So let's grab another oracle card. Attraction. Oh, well, you got the idea. I think I'm going to grab one more, but this ties very well to this. And so, as I said, it's like your relationships are a catalog of where you've been in your life. They are a reflection of who you are, an equal and opposite of who you are. And so if you find yourself struggling to connect with a previous partner, or a lot of head bashing, if that relationship is over, like, you can go back and try and take notes and see how your perception has changed, like how you've grown from both of those people, not just you or your partner, but as it's like, yeah, the relationship as an entity, as a whole part of you. And that, I don't know, that just screams progress to me. And sharing that story with others, I think, will help, especially with relationships. This is a pile all about how you could share that story, how you can, and you'd be surprised. You might feel almost ashamed or shy about the things you've done and the things you've been exposed to in these relationships, but and even if it's with yourself, self-harm is very real, especially if you feel trapped or stuck or just unhappy, and kind of seeing how those mindsets aren't really all that helpful, and recognizing self-destruction and seeing that in other people as well. So I think you have a lot to share. I think it's almost necessary so that you could not only alchemize yourself, but alchemize the world as a whole, and get rid of as much of that unconsciousness as possible, so that, I don't know, we just stop spreading that pain and turn it into love. And that's, I think, a real talent. It might not seem like it, but I think the more you dive into it, the more you study it, the more you work on it, the more apparent it is, how important this ability is. Again, not just for yourself, but the world as a whole. So, yeah, I'm going to end the reading there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments, like, subscribe. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care.